Welcome back to Sacramento Smooth Jazz for our weekly Artist Spotlight. Today, we're shining the light on a story of musical roots, a lifetime of dedication, and the irresistible groove of pure funk. Hubert Eaves IV was practically born with a passion for rhythm. Inspired by legends like Bootsy Collins and Marcus Miller, just to name a few, he honed his skills on stages and recordings, his dynamic bass lines driving the music of countless talented artists. But now, this seasoned musician steps into the solo spotlight. His latest project is a culmination of influences, experiences, and a lifetime of nurtured talent, a musical autobiography infused with pure funk. If the smooth, infectious rhythms of smooth jazz are your passion, oh wow, prepare for a treat, because Hubert Eaves IV delivers music with soul, history, and an irresistible groove you won't forget. This is the sound of a seasoned artist unleashing his unique voice. So get ready. The funk is here on Sacramento Smooth Jazz. Hubert, welcome to Sacramento Smooth Jazz, man. Thank you for your time today. How you doing?
Oh, man, what an intro. Man, I hope I can live up to it. Thank you, brother. I'm doing great, man.
It is so good to have you here. You have a latest track out. I heard it. I was like, oh, I got to get him on here. This is nice. I like your collaboration. Looking at your history, to me, you're well-deserving to be here. And our listeners need to know about our artists, and I want our listeners to know more about you as well, man. So you grew up around music, man. You was practically born with an instrument in your hand. You got family. It's like, did you have a choice? Did you have a choice in this, man?
Man, well, thank you for all your kind words, man. I really appreciate it. But I actually had absolutely no choice. When I was a little boy, like 3-4 years old, my dad shoved drums in my face. He was playing piano, playing records, and music was just always around. And I just took a liking to it very, very early on. I mean, that's all I just remember, man. Music was always in the house, and there was always instruments in the house, and that's just my love, man. To this day, I love it. All day, every day.
All day, every day. That's the heart of a true artist, when they just can't get enough of the music, and you want to make it better. So what? You got the drums. What was the attraction to the bass?
Okay, yeah. So very early on, like when I was about 9, I was in a band as the drummer, and whenever we would take breaks, the bass player, he put his bass down, and I would mosey on over there to the bass, and I'd pick it up and just start, plucking out notes and just having fun with it. And, my dad, he would come up there and check us out when we'd rehearse, and he'd see me on the breaks picking up that bass, and he was like, "You like the bass?" And I was like, "Yeah, I like it." And so I ended up getting a little cheap bass, the Carlo Rebelli, and I just started playing on that thing, man. And before you know it, my drums was getting all dusty, and I had to go in there and dust them off. But I just really kind of took to the bass, man, and just never put it back down. And that's how that started.
Wow. Now, what was the transition? Like, I understand the transition, but what began the process of you collaborating with other artists and supporting them and touring with them? Talk to us about that part.
Well, my touring first started in my teen years. Mm-hmm. The first tour that I went out on was with Lisa and the Cult Jam. And I went out as their bass player. And I played bass for a few years. And then, unfortunately, our drummer had gotten murdered. And we had a big show scheduled at Giant Stadium, opening up for David Bowie. And it was like the week after Ollie Ferguson was his name. R.I.P. Ollie. We had a week, and they were like, who are we going to get to play drums that's going to learn the show and, is going to know the pocket and everything? What are we going to do? And I was like, I can do it. And they were like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I mean, I know it. I know what it's supposed to be. And my bass tech was an excellent bass player. So he slid on over the bass. I went on the drums, and we knocked the show out. And then from that point on, I became the drummer for Lisa and Cult Jam. And that was the beginning of my touring days. And then I just went on from there. I did Randy Crawford, Alex Bugnon, Freddie Jackson. I'm old school. I'm dating myself, but.
Well, yeah, you dated yourself when you said Lisa Cult Jam.
Lisa and Cult Jam. Yeah, man. I've been around for a minute.
Wow.
All kinds of different kinds of music, but it's all been fun. It was all like good times and working with good people. And, I'm still friends with a lot of these people, man, to this day.
You've traveled the world. You've done Is there, and I like to ask this question because it's so profound. Everyone has a unique experience and something that stands out as a memorable experience. But what has been something that stood out besides that one, but being on stage with an artist that you really enjoy, has there ever been a moment where you're like, I can't believe I'm here doing this with them?
I think I've had moments like that probably with a few different artists, but I would have to say the most significant would be Erykah Badu. And I think I say that because in the beginning, when we first started touring, the band was it was myself, Norman Hurt, and Poogie Bell on drums. Mm-hmm. Just the three of us, along with the background singers. And everything was just raw. It was just pure. And Erykah was just like, no one had really seen anything like her, mm-hmm. At that time. And what used to trip me out was being on stage, looking at the reaction of the audience. It was like you could hear a pin drop, in between songs. They were so attentive, so into her. Everything that she did when she would light an incense or just walk across the stage, because she wasn't showing no skin. She wasn't doing no backflips or no twerking or nothing like that. She was just interesting, and she would just captivate the audience. And I remember times just thinking, damn, she can really do no wrong. They're with her on every move. And it was a great thing to experience. It really was.
Now, for our listeners, they should know that you are on her album live, the live album, including the unforgettable track called Tyrone. You're on that bass.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That's you.
Call Tyrone. Don't get me to sing it.
That's you on that bass line, just on this right there on the stage with her. Wow. You've done a lot of great things. And it's interesting to note because reading upon you, and I read that part, I'm like, I had a moment because everyone recalls that live. Everyone recalls that. And to know that when it comes to the instrumentation, I'm now picking out that part and go, okay, that's my man Hubert right there playing. Okay, that was him. And so, yeah, how do you prepare for something like that, knowing that you're going to be performing with someone at that level? But was it difficult to prepare? What was it like?
I would have to say that the preparation was going back to my childhood years and being in bands and rehearsing and practicing and doing shows and doing gigs. That was the preparation that led me to even be able to get on these tours. And by the time you step on stage with artists like Erykah and Freddie Jackson's and, whomever else, you're just ready. Now you just, you learn the material, you learn the artists and get a feel for the crew that you're working with, the other musicians and singers. And, as a bass player, just try to get in and fill my spot. I'm not trying to outshine nobody. I'm not trying to be no gunslinger. Just trying to get in there and be solid, play the part, and have some fun and just enjoy the ride. So, yeah, the preparation was just my childhood years and just us just rehearsing, man. We were well rehearsed and we all respected and liked the music and we enjoyed playing together. And I think it showed, man. It really did. I'm really proud of every member, of that unit and that live album. Yeah. Really proud of it.
Now, speaking of your own work now, playing the bass is a very unique endeavor all within itself. And many people can really appreciate the bass, no doubt about it. It's funky, it has a nice groove. How do you balance the melody when you're creating a project? How do you balance those elements of a melody versus creating and playing bass lines?
Well, for me, I think what helps me is having a good feel for drums and bass. So I'm always thinking of making sure that groove is right, that it's locked, that there's space, so that when it comes time to creating a melody, that there's nothing in the way, that the melody can be strong, it can carry the song, and for whatever reason, if you don't catch the melody, that groove is holding you up. It's like it's like an anchor or a crutch. It's just holding you up, and then that melody's gonna hit you. That's kind of my approach, man. Just making sure that the foundation is strong, that it's a nice groove. Like, before we were recording, we were just you and I were just kind of cracking and stuff. And I was like, You know, I want to make your head nod. I want to make you feel the funk, feel the groove.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of approach songwriting and production. I want to make sure that when there is no melody, if it's a breakdown or just the intro, I'm trying to catch you from the beginning. Mm-hmm. That's the goal.
Nice. How can our listeners find out more about you? What do you have for us in terms of websites or social media? What's going on there?
Well, I have my website, which is Hubert Eaves IV, Roman numeral IV.com. I have things there that people can take a look at. And of course, the social media on Instagram and Facebook. But I'm a new artist, man. You know, I'm an old dude. I've been around for a minute, but I'm considered a new artist. So I'm just trying to build up experiences and as I do, and I'm putting stuff up and posting and just trying to get into this whole new way of doing things. The kids are like, what do you mean new way? It's new to me.
Right? Well, your latest track, and I want to talk about that. You're talking about you're an old dude, but let me tell you something. You have some storied history on this particular track. You have Najee on this track as well.
Oh,
man, well, talk to me about, talk to us about that collaboration. How did that come to be, and why did you want that? I mean, who wouldn't want Najee, but how did that come to be?
Man, Najee and I go way back, and he's just one of the baddest in the game, period. He can go straight ahead. He can go smooth jazz. He can do it all. Whatever the song or the gig calls for, he can do it all. And when I was recording Get Up, I just kept hearing him in there, and I'm like, you know what, but I was kind of like, I don't want to ask him to do it. You know, I probably can't afford him, and I'm sure he's busy, and I made all these excuses not to call him. But then at the last minute, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to reach out and see what happens. And he was so cool about it. And he just was like, hey, man, just let me know what you need. We spoke a couple of times and kind of went over it, and he just killed it. He destroyed it. I mean, like, I was so happy with his performance, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm extremely grateful to Najee. So, Najee, if you're listening, if you ever hear this, you already know how I feel, but I'm going to tell you again, thank you so much, brother. You really, really, really came through for me. And I'm always going to be here for you, whatever you need, man. You just say it. But yeah, that was a great pick, and I have no regrets.
Who else do you have on this track? Because it's a nice track. When I first heard it, I was like, oh, let me play this again. I think I heard it like 5-6 times before I put it in our library.
Wow.
Yeah, it's nice.
I got to say, man, one of my other favorite horn players is also on there. Najee's playing all the lead parts, all the solos and the lead saxophone parts, but the backing saxophone parts are being played by Brent Burkhead, who is another one who's an absolute killer. I mean, everything he touches, he kills. And I've used him on, I don't know if you've heard a song that I had out a minute ago. It's called Da Di Da.
Yeah.
And if you haven't heard it, please check it out.
Yeah.
And that's Mr. Brent Burkhead on that. He's killing. On drums, I have Mr. Brian Dunn, killer drummer. People, they ask me, how come you didn't play drums on it? I said, because Brian Dunn is going to do it better than me. That I ain't tripping. And he came in and he slams everything. You tell him what you need and he just takes care of it. So we got Brian, we got on guitar, I got the incredible Randy Boland. He's another one who's a killer. You know, he's also a writer, producer. So he always gives you like exactly what you need from like, and he kind of like puts it together from a producer's ear, producer's approach. So it's like, it's usually perfect. I have Mike Logan Sr. on the Rhodes, another great keyboard player. He plays with Will Downing and so many other artists. Great guy. Of course, I have my dad on there. He's playing the acoustic piano solo.
I was going to ask you. Okay, I was going to talk to you about that.
I was saving him. Yeah, dear old dad, man. You know, if it wasn't for him, none of this would be going on. 'Cause, yeah, he's still killing, man. I'm very, very proud of my father, Hubert Eaves III. And on background vocals, we have myself and the lovely Elisa Ori, who was actually my wife. So that's us together. Hitting that chorus, very simple, Get Up, which is the title of the song. And the song was mixed by the incredible Richard Furch. He keeps all my stuff really tight and kind of in your chest. And that's it. Get Up.
Yes, yes. And so this track entitled Get Up, featuring Najee, is your latest project. And it's been out for a little bit now. And we have it in rotation and our listeners get to hear it right now on Sacramento Smooth Jazz. Hubert, thank you for hanging out with us today. I'm really grateful.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. Anytime you just reach out, I'm here, bro.
Thanks for listening to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. To continue listening to Smooth Jazz 24/7, follow Sac Smooth Jazz on social media and listen by going to sacsmoothjazz.fm.